Welcome to Outdoor Chef Life. I'm Taku, and on this series we're targeting invasive species, whether that's species that's causing harm to the ecosystems or species that are non-native to the region. It could be fish, shellfish, small game, or even plants. We're going to hunt them down, teach you a little bit about them, but most importantly, make something tasty. This is Deliciously Invasive. So welcome to episode 3 of Deliciously Invasive. Today, I'm joined by my good friend, Dr. Kevin. Recently, PhD. Congrats, by the way.
Thank you very much.
And today we are targeting some invasive plants, and as well as you have the invasive squirrel as well.
That's right.
Yeah, so what are we targeting? What invasive species?
So we have a huge problem in the West here now with the invasive eastern fox squirrel. It's not supposed to be here. It outcompetes the western gray squirrel. So I targeted one of those the other day.
Okay.
And so that's going to be our meat source.
Nice.
Some squirrel meat.
Nice protein.
Yeah. I'd like to call this country chic, but in fact it's just hillbilly fusion. But yeah, we'll pair that with some wild edible greens that are also invasive.
Yeah.
Let's see, that we got the wild mustard green, wild radish green, and then also we're going to flavor all of this with the wild invasive three-corner leek.
Ooh, that sounds delicious.
It's going to be good.
The first thing we went to harvest was the three-corner leek. So tell us a little bit about that.
So it's it's an extreme invasive, and apparently it's so invasive in multiple continents that it's illegal to plant it in Britain because it just takes over.
Yeah.
So this spot that we're looking is it's along a creek. It's in a riparian forest, and this species, the wild three-corner leek, is very distinct. It's part of the allium family, which is the same family as onions and garlic.
Yeah.
But it's distinct in the sense that when you cut the flowering head or the flowering stalk, the stalk has three corners. It's got a triangular cross section. And then the other thing is the leaves are kind of V-shaped in cross section, but they have a really pronounced rib on the base. And then the last two attributes, it's got white flowers, and each petal has a green line down the middle of it. And the last one is completely escaping me, so.
Yeah, and the flowers kind of dangle down like
they
that.
They do, yeah.
They kind of just do this, yeah.
Yeah, oh, and it has a true bulb because it's in the onion garlic family.
Yeah, and then the way you harvest it.
I mean, the way we should harvest it is we should just go take all of them.
Yeah.
But since we can't, because there's too many, I like to dig down kind of adjacent to the actual bulbs. And then once I've loosened the soil, I can reach in from the side and make sure I get the actual base of the bulbs, and then I pull the whole clump out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's, I mean, and when you pull it out like that, it looks, for me, it reminds me of Tokyo negi. If it's basically green onion, but a really fat one, but not as fat as a leek, but right in between. I've used it in many of my videos. That's like expensive stuff, and that we have pretty much, it looks the same pretty much, and it's invasive, it's free, we can harvest it right there. I don't have to go to the Japanese market anymore and look for the Tokyo negi.
But you can see like it gets a lot of sediment in there, so we'll definitely have to like, what I'll usually do is cut this, split them, and rinse the heck out of them. But these will be good.
Nice. Yeah.
And it tastes great.
Taste, flavor is amazing. Yeah, I've actually never harvested the whole entire thing. I've harvested this, but just the tops, just a little kind of the chive part, I call it, I would say, like when you slice it up. We also went to grab some wild mustard as well. And wow, this field is entirely covered with mustard. You can see all of these yellow flowers. That's all wild mustard, and they're all invasive too.
That's right. Yeah, it's kind of like a local iconic thing to see. I always look forward to seeing these beautiful fields of just gold, this gorgeous, but it's not supposed to be there, and it grows like an invasive. It carpets everything, and it outcompetes our native species, and it tastes delicious.
It is delicious. And we also got some wild radish as well. And I'm pretty familiar with wild radish. I like harvesting that quite a bit because it's tasty.
Yeah, it's one of my favorites.
Yeah. Pretty similar to wild mustard too, the greens.
Yep, similar flavor, similar look to them. I think we were noticing today it looked like the radish has a much bigger leaf to it.
Radish, mustard.
But yeah, they both taste about the same.
And the radish flowers are white to pink to purple in color with a little kind of lacrosse petal pattern, whereas the mustard is all yellow, and it's kind of more, I don't know, what do you say, like bulby or something?
Yeah, I'd like to know the botanical term for it, because it is. It's like a cluster of flowers that looks almost like spherical at the end.
Right.
Whereas those radish, kind of is like a little bit more loosely distributed, I guess. But I'm not a botanist. I just like eating wild food.
Yeah, right on. And Kevin also noticed another thing when we were at the creek. Once you get these invasive species and it just starts taking over the natives, right? And what's the thing that you notice with the berries and stuff?
Yeah, I mean, you can see invasive Himalaya blackberry is shading out our native blackberry, and so, you know, the natives are going to die and the invasives will take over. This is your native blackberry. It's got a triangular leaf, and it's got really, really fine thorns. They're really closely spaced. And then what we have right above it is the Himalaya blackberry. It's got this deep furrowed kind of vine. They're widely spaced, really large thorns, and more of a circular to ovate leaf with this little point on it. And it's a perfect example where we have the native berry, and then over the top of it we have the invasive berry. And the invasive berry is going to completely shade this out and take over any kind of light that it might need to grow, and it'll outcompete the native berry. You can see it right behind us, this carpet of this, it looks like some kind of ivy variant that's crawling up. And you got native coast live oak right here, but then we've got invasive, extremely tall eucalyptus here that's completely shading out the native species. Yeah. So when they start, they do totally take over, and it's a tremendous environmental impact. So we should eat them.
We should eat them.
Not them.
Not
those aren't good to eat.
Not the ivy, not the...
We'll show you what to eat.
Yeah. We're also talking about where you should harvest, right? And a lot of times these invasive species, or just plants in general, there's a ton just along the highways right next to the road. But should we be eating those?
Definitely not. One of the things you'll notice, power line cuts that go through the woods, they always have low vegetation around them, and that's because those power companies will go through and cut everything, but they follow up by spraying herbicide all over that stuff. So those power line cuts through the woods might have a whole bunch of thimbleberry, for instance, but it's basically doused in poison. And same with the roadsides. You'll see in trail sides a lot of times too. You'll see maintenance folks going through and spraying herbicide. I always say if you can get, 20 feet, 25 feet off of a road or trail, you should be good to go.
All right, right on. That's a good thing to know if you want to harvest your own. Let's make something delicious with this invasive plants and the invasive squirrel.
Sounds good, man.
Let's do it.
Right on.
All right, guys, now we are going to do the cooking, and this time I'm actually not going to be cooking. I'm going to be assisting Kevin. Kevin's going to be the chef. I'll be a sous chef. What are we making today, chef?
Wow, that's crazy. I'm actually an archaeologist, so to have a chef call me chef, it's pretty cool. Well, we're going to use the 3-corner leek instead of onion. So it's got that oniony garlickiness. We're going to dice that up, and that's going to be the base. And then we're going to use those wild mustard greens and wild radish greens. We're going to make a saag. So it's an Indian curry that usually uses spinach, but we're going to be using these wild greens instead. We're going to use some squirrel. It's an invasive squirrel, the eastern fox squirrel. And then we're going to make a potato pea dish called aloo matar.
Nice.
Indian food. Oh yeah, and then we got to make some flatbread.
And then you want me to make some flatbread.
Some roti,
Some roti, right on.
They're just like a store-bought leek, where between these layers you often have dirt, and you can even see under this layer it's got some more. So I like to split them open and really get in there and rinse that stuff. And with a big one like this, I'll even just get rid of some of the outside, and then that way you're getting right down into the good stuff. And the most tender part is going to be pretty much from here down to here. Sometimes the bulb at the bottom is nice and fat, sometimes it's just like this.
What do you think? Should we have a beer while we cook?
I think that's a great idea.
We got IPA here.
Oh, from Drake's. Yes.
Drake's Brewing.
That is a good brewery.
Oh, I might have dropped that one, sorry.
All good.
Cheers, man.
Cheers.
Whew. All right, now we got the energy.
Let's go.
Let's cook. I'll work on the bread.
Okay.
Go for it.
Okay.
Yeah. Theorem chopper. It's just flour, all-purpose flour, salt, and add some water. And we'll add water as we go, as we need. More flour.
Smells really good.
Yeah, it smells so good. You know what this reminds me? It's like, it smells like chives. And when I smell that, it reminds me of like my grandma making gyoza when I was a kid.
Nice.
It's just, yeah, that smell is so like distinct, you know?
Yeah.
And yeah, she made the best gyoza too, so brings back memories. It smells really good. I really love it.
I love that you brought that up because like earlier today we were out and we're like picking the mustard greens. I took a bite and all of a sudden I'm like, this is the first plant that I ever learned to ID, and so it was like instantly transported back to my childhood. That's awesome, man.
Yeah, it's pretty cool, like how food can do that, how smells can do that. We found the perfect cooking area. It's got a sink, it's got tables and everything.
So a Fijian Indian friend of mine told me that when you're like a prospective daughter-in-law and you go and you meet your mother-in-law, she'll judge you on the way you make your roti.
Oh yeah?
And it better come out like perfectly round.
Oh really?
I'm always laughing because like I don't think I'd make a very good wife. Mine always comes out looking like South America. Still tastes good though.
Yeah, one day you'll make a good wife.
Yeah, maybe. All right, I'm gonna throw some ghee in here.
Cool.
Boom. All right, this is my brother's, well, the spice kit my brother made me.
Nice.
And in it, I have a bunch of foraged mustard seeds.
Nice.
So I'm gonna throw mustard seeds in some ghee over here. This is like the beginning of the aloo matar, which is like a North Indian potato pea dish. So it's mustard seed, cumin seed, and then we're gonna throw half of this stuff in there, 3-corner leek. All right.
Nice. It's looking good. Those are some flavorful stuff in there. Smells amazing.
So I usually, when I'm doing outdoor cooking, I like to parboil my potatoes so that they're already like
so
almost done.
Nice and easy, nice and quick. Good thinking.
All right.
What do you think, Kevin? Am I wifey material?
Oh man.
Not really, huh?
No.
No,
it
not
looks
quite.
a little bit more like
Not
Australia
quite.
still, but you're getting there. Add some turmeric. Maybe a little more. Some red chili powder. Coriander. Like that. And so I don't forget, I'm taking that garam masala out.
Ooh, that looks beautiful. Look at that color.
Right?
Awesome.
Indian cooking. Always got good color. Perfect. Yep, and now we'll throw that on an open burner. You want it to puff up, so yeah, maybe medium, something like that. And we're just gonna keep flipping it at this point.
Okay.
So you might wanna just spend some time over there. And then once it starts really puffing up, then we'll know that it's ready.
Right.
You can take it off, put a little ghee on it, and we're good to go.
I can two-time this.
I'm gonna add a little bit of tomato, but not too much. Since we're making Indian food, I had to bring some homemade sea salt.
Oh, nice.
It's kind of coarse,
Oh, beautiful.
but turned out pretty good.
Yeah, that's great.
And I had to bring it because in 1930, Mahatma Gandhi led this non-violent protest against the British colonial rule called the Salt March. And they traveled, I think, 250 miles across India by foot in order to make salt so that they didn't have to pay the Brits the salt tax. And when I saw that movie, I was like, that's so cool. One, that you're doing that and resisting the man. And two, I want to now make sea salt.
Yeah.
And so that inspired me to do this years ago, and
That's so cool.
I've been doing it ever since. It's delicious. Oop, I dropped one in my pan.
It's okay.
I think we're gonna have to taste it. How was it? Is it good?
Very good.
Okay. Does it need anything? Is it too hot? Not salty enough? Too salty?
You could put more salt.
Okay.
Yeah. Ooh, nice.
Yeah, those are ready, man. Those are perfect.
Nice.
Now just take a little bit of this and just kind of paint it on there.
Now we're spreading some ghee right onto this.
And then for the next one, I would just take that, lay it right on those and kind of sandwich it in between. No more ghee, and the ghee will just kind of get on there. Okay, now I'm gonna do a squirrel sog. Some people call it a red squirrel. It's not native, it's here. It's taking over like crazy. If you've had squirrel problems in your garden, it's probably the invasive squirrel.
Yes.
Yep. So, you know, you're not allowed to catch them and keep them alive and then move them somewhere else. That's totally illegal. And that's the case with a lot of invasives.
Yeah.
Thanks, brother. So really, the best way to get around it is to go hunt them and eat them. And they're delicious.
And you said there's a season for it?
So I'm not 100% on that because there is a tree squirrel season, and I've believed my whole life that this was included, and I just read somewhere else that they said this is not included, but the they who said that was not the Department of Fish and Wildlife, so until I confirm that, I'm just gonna say yes, there's a season.
3-corner leek going in.
A bit of ginger paste. Cumin, coriander, turmeric, red chili powder, which is different than the American chili powder, and some garam masala. That's pretty much the basis of a lot of Indian food. Just want to cook those spices a little bit to bring out the flavor. All right, some squirrel stock.
All right, that water's going, the greens are there. So we are...
Cool, so we will blanch those.
Ooh, that's looking amazing, man.
Hope so.
Smells so good.
Good.
Smells so good. Okay, we got the wild radish, wild mustard greens going in, all right? We grab plenty because this is just gonna shrink down.
Traditionally with like a sog, you'll probably take these haunches like that would be, you know, chicken legs.
Yeah.
And you'll actually cook them either as tandoori style, so barbecue them with that nice marinade, or you'll actually cook them like in the oil and get a bunch of flavor. But I pre-cooked these in a slow cooker for like 2 hours, so it was like just tender and just about to fall off the bone. So I don't want to overcook it. I'm just going to throw them in when we throw the greens in there, and that way it's
perfect. And the greens are ready. So you just want me to chop this up?
as finely as possible.
Is it okay if it's just a little wet?
Oh yeah, totally. I think that'll do it, man.
All right, cool. There we go. Dump it in.
Now we're just going to cook it down and let all those spices blend. And then we'll add in our squirrel in about a minute or two.
So this one you want pretty thick, huh?
Yeah, yeah. I think I added a little more squirrel stock than I should have because I also added tomato, which gives it a lot of, you know, juice.
Yeah.
But whatever. It's gonna. The longer it cooks, the more flavor we're gonna get in there.
It's looking good.
It does look good.
I'm gonna start plating now. These are edible too. The mustard is also edible. And the radish ones too, but I don't think we've grabbed any radish ones.
Dude, it's been years since I've made this dish. And I keep being like, I gotta make this dish for my channel. And I'm really glad that we ended up making it together.
Yeah.
This is good, dude.
Ooh, this looks amazing. Here it is, guys. Well, Kevin, what do we have here?
A fancy invasivore feast here. So we've got our wild mustard seeds from the invasive mustard that is like sort of the backbone of the aloo mutter, which is the potatoes and pea dish here. Beautifully plated, way better than I could plate that. Thank you for doing that.
Thank you.
And then we've got our invasive wild mustard greens and invasive wild radish greens pureed in here with our invasive eastern fox squirrel, slow cooked and nice and spicy as a sog. Oh, and then of course, we've got our roti.
The roti.
Yes.
Dude, everything looks beautiful, man. You did a
Agreed.
fantastic job.
Dude, likewise.
That was fun. That was fun. I liked cooking together.
Me
Yeah,
too.
that was good. It was also pressure off me. I didn't have to think of what to cook. Let's dig in.
Okay, so it's hand food.
Let's
so
do it.
It's all your right hand, okay?
Yeah.
And you're just gonna take a
that
bit
one
of
has
your
the least.
roti here. You can try the sog first or try
Yeah,
the
let's
potatoes
try it.
first.
Let's try the sog.
So there's gonna be some bones in those, the leg pieces, but there's some meat that I took off the body in here as well.
Right. Ooh, looks beautiful. Take a look at that. Oh, that looks.
Right? For a bunch of weeds and what people consider to be like a rat in the trees, it's pretty good.
Wow.
Your roti's good, man.
Wow. Thank you.
This is a little more soupy than I normally serve it. It's usually a little thicker. I think what we should do is take some of the alum mater and just put it on the side. It'll soak up some of that juice, and then we can scoop out some of that as well.
All right.
We got to have IPA with this because the story, and I don't know if this is entirely accurate, but the story I've heard is the Brits colonized India, couldn't get a good beer going over there. They couldn't make it because it was too hot, and refrigeration was an issue as they were, trucking any kind of or not trucking, but boating supplies over the ocean. So the only brew that they could make that would actually show up tasting good was this special October beer that was usually made in Europe, like for if somebody had a new baby or something like that. Very special occasion beer in October when the hops are fruiting. And so they ultra hop this higher alcohol amber kind of October beer, and then they brought it over and it lasted and it held up against the shipping and everything, and all of a sudden the soldiers have the first delicious beer they've had in like probably years, and they're like, dude, this is amazing, hence the IPA, India Pale Ale.
That's the origin story.
I
of
think
IPA.
that's what I've been told.
Pretty cool.
I can check my beer Bible.
All right. Jocelyn has a beer Bible.
course you
well,
do that,
cheers to
Jocelyn.
that.
Are you serious?
Yeah. Cheers. Cheers, man.
Cheers. Cheers. What is yours?
A bear bottle, Grandma Cocoa Stout.
Nice.
Really good, man.
Total, been a standard of mine for years.
I guess I gotta try the squirrel.
Oh yeah.
It's like chicken. Yeah. That's good.
Yeah. Like if a chicken was stealing all of your plants out of your garden, it tastes like good tender chicken and vengeance at the same time.
It's like a leg meat from chicken.
The cool thing about it too is these things eat acorn, they eat walnut, they eat all these like really good quality foods. So, people have no qualms with eating a chicken that was raised in pretty terrible conditions, eating some pretty bad stuff. These guys are free range, they're not supposed to be here, and they're eating like the top choice foods that are available around us. As long as you get outside the cities,
I think that's gonna be it for this episode. Make sure to check out Dr. Kevin right here. Catch and Cook California. He has a YouTube channel, and he is guiding foraging classes too. So if you guys want to go foraging, either coastal foraging, mushroom foraging, or for these invasive greens, make sure to hit him up. I'll leave his information down in the description. Thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you guys next time. Peace.